My job is to study the trends, the technology trends, how people are engaged with the internet on a global basis. So the first trend is what we're calling satisfaction guaranteed, and it's this whole notion that customer service and PR are now blending. There's really it's very hard to differentiate that anymore. It used to be, we would call an 800 number to voice our complaints. Nowadays we go on Twitter, and that's where we go, or we go on Friend Feed, or we go on Facebook, and that's where we complain loudly, as somebody in this room once did, Mr. Jarvis over there. And it's recounted. What would Google do? You will hear about that, in the next section, but I'm going to plug it now because it's a great book. But the whole notion is that customer service and PR are blending. And so we look at that and say, gee, what are the implications of that, and how do we think about that? There's a bright woman on our staff in Chicago who's 22, who just came out of school. And she says an entire generation is growing up that will never dial an 800 number to reach customer care. And that's true. If people have an issue, they're going to go about it on Twitter. They're going to go on Facebook or YouTube, and that's where they're going to go to get their voice heard because it works, and it works really well. The second trend is what we're calling media reforestation. It's no secret that the media right now is being, it's kind of a scorched earth environment to some degree. And it's in a constant state of reinvention, and the economy is really driving that. And so it's going to have major implications for advertising, major implications for public relations professionals like myself. And you've seen the stories. I mean, the Rocky Mountain News, no more. The San Francisco Chronicle, probably no more within a matter of weeks or months. So the news about the news is not good. So what are the implications around that? Well, we're telling people now this is the time to think about media in a very broad way. I'm amazed by the fact that people still view social media and traditional media as two different things. They're not. They're one. It's all media. It's all connected. Bivings Group did a study that 75% of newspaper sites now allow people to comment on stories. I think 100% of newspapers have blogs. So we can't look at this anymore and say, yeah, there's these guys over here in these corners and they're zebras, and there's these guys over here who are elephants. The elephants and the zebras have mated, okay? And it's all now one species. Now, there may be different flavors within there, and people may interact differently, and there might be some that are professionals and some that are amateurs, but it's one ecosystem, and that's how I advise PR people in particular to think about that, because it is one connected universe. Here's an example of another company that gets it. Intel launched a site where they are curating all around CES blogs, Twitter chatter, YouTube videos, Flickr images, all around CES. Skittles is another example. They just rebranded their homepage and got a lot of buzz out of that because, again, they were aggregating content from the masses. It's better, I think, rather than doing it around your brand and you, no one cares. It's better to do it around a topic, a theme. And that's why I really like this example, because they're really, here's a high-interest subject that people wanted to track, and they created a one-stop shop for people to do that. They aggregated the massive niches. Smart idea. And it's a great example of a company becoming a media company. The third trend is we're quoting less is the new more, and I'm quoting Pete Blackshaw, who's a gentleman with Nielsen. That's his phrase. I think information overload is finally taking its toll. I know we've been talking about it now for 10 years, and I'm going to use my friends as quality filters to kind of help me, prioritize my information flow, to help me, figure out what's important. Somebody was quoted in the New York Times in an article about a year ago saying, if the news is important, it will find me. And it's true. I mean, I know geeks in particular who are starting to give up their RSS reader because they know if it's important, they'll find out through Twitter or they'll find out through Friend Feed or Facebook. So selective ignorance is in. So how do you get around this then? If people are kind of tuning out, well, doesn't that go against what I'm saying about being a media company? Doesn't that go, how does that really work? Well, one way to get around it is to be useful, to provide utility. Create assets that people will actually want to use and engage with that actually serve some sort of purpose, some sort of higher calling. Second is to kind of view the media ecosystem as being interconnected, and you can actually sow seeds with peers, with in social networks and blogs and Twitter, and have that escalate up to the professional media. So we've seen that kind of work as a connected ecosystem. And search is really, really important. I mean, studies show that 80% of internet users search. So I believe that there's an opportunity for PR professionals to sculpt kind of what's in the search shelf in an ethical, credible way through media coverage, through blog coverage, through their own content, through being a good company. So if you do good work and it's positive and other people start talking about it and it gets linked to, it will end up in Google results that are around high priority subjects that are related to your brand that you want to be known for. So there's an opportunity to work there and think about how that all connects. The fourth trend out of 5 is what we're calling corporate all-stars. And I have, I'm sorry, but I'm a diehard Yankee fan. For those of you who hate the Yankees, I'm sorry. Hopefully nobody here is from Red Sox Nation. If you are, you're going to be asked to leave the room. Sorry, you have to leave. Anyway, I don't like David Ortiz, even when he and A-Rod played on the same Dominican team. But so these Yankee greats, they were all personal brands. They were all amazing personal brands, Hall of Famers. And what they did was they helped fill the seats. They helped fill the seats at Yankee Stadium. They helped, in this day and age, Derek Jeter helps sell merchandise. That helps, helps fund the team, help them get great players, and hopefully they win. So great players, personal brands that help, companies win championships in sports, right? I mean, and teams win championships in sports. Same model, now moved into the corporate world. As the economy tightens up and jobs are becoming, the job losses mount, people are recognizing that their personal brand, their reputation matters. And if you're not found on Google and you're not discoverable and you're not known for something, hopefully something good, then if God forbid you lose your job, it's going to be harder for you because you're going to be competing against all these other people who do have personal brands. So we're seeing more workers flock to social media to say, I got to be there, not just to participate, but to build my own brand as an insurance policy or as an escape clause. And so we don't view this as a threat. We view it as an opportunity. That if companies can figure out who in their organization are personal brands or could be personal brands and harness those and get those moving in the same direction as the company, it can have a powerful impact because you're putting out ambassadors out there in a very unique way, much as these Yankee greats help fill the seats at Yankee Stadium. The last trend I'm going to talk about is the power of pull. As marketers and PR professionals, it's been all for years about push. Let's push messages out. Let's push ads out. Let's push press releases out. Let's push stories out. It's no longer just about push. I think push is important. It's about pull. It's about how do you create stuff that people are going to go and find and discover on their own and actually pull on and interact with when they want to. And they will do that increasingly through Google, but they'll also do that through social networks. I think that we're seeing a convergence is going to come between search and social networking that's going to blow our minds. The ability to search what your Facebook friends have shared and to be able to see those recommendations is something that's going to come, if not this year, then the next year. So we're going to see that things move much more towards pull. And so what we're recommending there is that you need to be there creating resources and content that inform the conversation. Walmart has done a great job with that, with sites like walmartfacts.com. At the same time, you don't always have to create everything. You can adopt things rather than invent them. You can find what's out there and give it new heights. And I think a lot of people are still writing for readers. They're not writing for the way people search. I always like to say people aren't Googling, I need aspirin. They're Googling, I have a headache. People aren't Googling RAID. They're Googling, I got termites, how do I get rid of them? So we need to be thinking about everything that we're creating and how that is written for searchers in a way that also respects people's time and readers as well. And here's an example. For Walmart, I mentioned, we have a blog called the Checkout Blog, where we have actual buyers from Walmart, we've helped them set this up, who are blogging about the products they're purchasing and they're not buying and what they're, in different areas. And this stuff, they're creating this content over time, it's high quality, but they're not just writing it for readers, they're writing it for searchers as well. It shows up very nicely in Google when you Google certain things, such as Walmart High Def, the blog shows up very highly. And that, and it's because we're creating content that is socially connected that people are going to pull on through different channels. Facebook, Google, RSS for some people, Twitter in other cases. We want people to be able to pull on different content. So those are the 5 trends to watch. There's a white paper either on my blog at micropersuasion.com or at edelmandigital.com, or actually probably the easiest place to get it is edelman.com/insights. You can find the white paper there. It's 30 pages. Don't fall asleep. I would be happy to take questions.